Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Sean, sometimes known as the Beast, and I've had a bit of a strange week this week with real life getting in the way and hospital visits and stuff like that. So I haven't really been in the mood for anything overly violent, overly aggressive. So the records I'm going to show today, one's, we use the word grail quite a lot, but it's a record I've been after for quite a long time, and I managed to find a copy. To be honest, these four records are pretty much inspired by our good friend Metal Marty Mac. If you don't know Marty, I'll be extremely surprised, but I will leave a link to his channel in the description. Marty shows a lot of really top quality music, but recently he's been showing some a lot of doom and traditional heavy metal, hard rock type things, and there was a couple of records that he showed intrigued me, and I decided to give them a spin and then grabbed a couple. I think there's only one actually in these four that Marty did actually show first on his channel. Like I say, the other ones are sort of a similar vein and well worth listening to. So first up is the band Dusk and their debut full length called Wheels of Twilight. This came out in 2023 on Argonauta, I think that's how you say it, Records. This is hard rock with a traditional doom type edge. These are from Austria. What this sounds like it should have been put out in the 70s. You know, that traditional 70s vibe. Not psychedelic as such, but sort of, it's got all those like traditional hooks and riffs, really fat heavy bass line, the drumming sort of solid and steady without being overly dramatic. They have a lady singer who goes by the name of Danica, and in one review I read she was described as a mix between Stevie Nicks and what was his name? I did write it down somewhere. Danzig. I think it said Glenn Benton then. That would have been a traditionally different sounding record. I got this was dirt cheap on Amazon. I think I paid 12 quid or something like that. Awful, I think it's called bone coloured vinyl. But yeah, so what you get with this is, it's like I say, it's that traditional 70s sounding hard rock with a doomy sort of take on it. It's quite, the music is quite upbeat throughout, but the lyrical content is sort of quite dark and what's the word? It's not quite occult, but you know, it's got there's definitely a shady undertone type thing. So yeah, it's a really good album. So that's Dusk and their Wheels of Twilight. Next up is the record that Marty did show. As soon as I saw it, I instantly had to go and buy it purely because of the artwork. Luckily, before I pressed buy, I actually did listen to a couple of tracks, and yeah, this is Angel of Damnation and their Ethereal Blasphemy. This came out in 2025, and it's actually their just a minute, I think it's their third full length. Yeah, their third full length. This is out on Dying Victims Productions. This is doom metal, again from these chaps from Germany. The singer on this is known as Doom Cult Messiah. I forgot the name of his real name's is it Gertz or something like that? He was in Dawn of Winter and Sacred Steel. I knew I made notes for a reason. He's got a really distinctive tone to his voice, quite it's not high pitched, you know, it's not, we aren't talking King Diamond, but it's got a sharpness to it that it fits this music perfectly. You get the inlay sheet with the chaps on that side and the lyrical content on that side. We also get a huge, well, a large poster of said artwork. We also get a postcard with the gents on, looking all doomy. We also get a sticker with the artwork on, and last but definitely most importantly, the vinyl on black wax. Now, where do we go with this? The heaviness from this album doesn't come from effects pedals or anything like that. It's more from the actual, like, the riffs and the way it's the way the music plays, if that makes sense. Probably doesn't, because I'm saying it. But yeah, it's very much a heavy album created by the music rather than having a big fuzzy wah pedal and such like. But possibly a little bit too predictable at times. But that certainly doesn't mean it's not a good record. It's a really solid, traditional sounding doom release. So that's Angel of Damnation and their album Ethereal Blasphemy. So cheers for that one, Marty. Proves I do watch your stuff and buy stuff, not just watch your stuff and comment and then only buy all the nasty violent stuff I normally show. So the album I mentioned at the start, saying I've been after it for a while, is a band Marty actually showed a couple of their later albums, and it made me realise, you know, I still needed this one. Luckily, I found a copy on Discogs for a price I was willing to pay. It's not, you know, it's not extremely expensive, but it's expensive enough. I didn't realise until I got it that the person who sold it had decided to stick the hype sticker on the actual cover itself, which annoys the crap out of me. Obviously, you can see now that the album in question is the debut album by Lucifer. Now, I'm not sure if the lineup on this one, I think they maybe only did this album together, and then for the following albums there was quite a big change in the lineup. I think I might be wrong, but I'm sure I've read that somewhere. Now, for me, the biggest selling point in Lucifer is Johanna Sadonis' voice. I think she's got an absolutely superb voice, and on this one it's a little bit less polished as some of the later stuff, and it sort of enhances the whole structure and feeling of every record, of every song. Sorry. Inside it we get the impossibly small lyrics on that side, picture on the band on that side. Again, because it was an album I've been after for quite some time and found it a decent price, the one thing I don't like is I cannot stand the colour of the vinyl. It does sound fine, you know, it plays perfectly, but I just don't see any connection between purple and what's like a sea green type colour. But like I said, it plays. It was one I was after. I've been after it for quite some time, so I was happy to get it. The music on this, the riffs are really heavy. The bass and the drums are solid and lay that sort of old school sounding foundation down. Like I say, for me, Johanna's voice is just, you know, it's the best thing about this record. Again, it has that 70s feel to it, you know, sort of the not psychedelic, but there's a distinctive vibe that goes through it that's just, it just transports you back to, well, what was my infancy. But yeah, again, the production is really rich and really atmospheric. Say, it's a record I've been after for quite some time, and I'm more than happy to have added it to the collection, regardless of the bloody colour. Right, this next band, I actually thought that Marty had showed this, and I was chatting to him, as I do, and I said, "Oh mate, that record you showed," so and anyway, he was like, "Eh, I'm showing it." Thinking back, it might have actually been Chris at Green Saber that showed it on his channel. I might be wrong about that. Anyway, whoever showed it, thank you very much, because it meant I bought it, and it's absolutely superb. The band in question is called Coven. Now, it's spelled C-W-F-E-N, but I've had it on good authority, it's pronounced Coven. The album itself is called Sorrows. This is the debut full length on New Heavy Sounds. This project is doom, rock, heavy metal, bits of, is it synthwave, potentially shoegazy at times. These boys and lady are from Glasgow. I don't know what they're putting in the water up in Scotland recently, but they are bringing out some fantastic music. This is we get a inlay sheet with the lyrics on and some of the information. Yeah, this is an album that's very, it's got a very dark, almost unholy, occult type feeling. It's red translucent vinyl, which again, I'm not a massive fan of, but it doesn't matter because the record is that good. Yeah, this is the lady in question, the singer, is a lady called Agnes Alder, and her voice is just absolutely amazing. It's sort of got quite a mournful tone to it, but when she lets rip, it sounds like a banshee. It's absolutely, I was going to say terrifying, but that's probably the wrong word, but there's just something about it that makes you feel slightly uneasy, but in a really, really good way. The drumming, the musicianship, everything about it is just, it's exemplary. It's not over the top, it's not, you know, there's no guitar wankery, there's no unnecessary drum fills, there's no self-indulgent like bass solos or anything like that. It's just a wonderful, wonderful, really, really well constructed album that is just full of atmosphere, and I must have played this probably at least 20 times. This will definitely be on my end of year list. This band, I desperately need to see this band live, because the atmosphere that's on the record, if they can reproduce that somehow in a live setting, it's going to be one of them gigs that, you know, stays with you for a very, very long time. Last year I was fortunate enough to see Chelsea Wolfe along with Mrs. Beast and Simon Beanie Red Viking and his lady Olivia, and we said at the end we witnessed something special there, and I think to see Coven live, that would be, I think that's going to be a bit special. I don't know if they've got any touring plans, hopefully they will have, but yeah, absolutely brilliant, brilliant, top quality record. So that's the last one for this little what's been spinning this week of yeah, not non-violent aggressive stuff. So Coven and their debut release, Sorrows. So that's it again, as I said, for this one. Just a quick sort of doom-laden traditional rock metal type vibe this week. The sub count competition, I will probably draw it next Saturday, which will be something, I think it's the 5th of September, 5th September, something like that. The sub count has absolutely exploded, and a massive thank you to everyone that's recently subbed, that still subs, that's always subbed. It means a lot. I never expected to get anywhere near as many. I think I'm coming up for 2 years. Back end of September, I think it is. That's when I've done like my 2-year anniversary type thing. So yeah, if you know any of these or something similar to these, or if you know if you got, Coven are touring, especially if they're coming down south of the border, then please give me a shout in the comments. Pop in the comments anyway. I want to give a shout out to a friend of mine off Instagram. She's known as the Death Metal Mum on Instagram. She's called Faye, and she has a podcast called the Heavy Metal Podcast. Is it Heavy Metal Podcast? Something like that. I'll leave a link to it in the description below. I recently watched, I've said before, if you've watched any of the videos, I'm a big fan of the band Employed to Serve, a modern sort of almost deathcore, mathcore type band. They were the first band I saw live after the government decided we needed to go into lockdown and you weren't allowed to do anything and stuff. So I've always had quite an affinity with them. And she did a video, a podcast, sorry, where she was chatting to Justine, the singer. And the overwhelming feeling was, it was brilliantly done. It was, the questions were really good. But the overwhelming feeling I got from it was two mates sat chatting. The same as when we do live streams and I'm sat talking to Johnny Mac or Marty, or, when you used to watch the four lads doing the Contacting Blood, things like that. Just such a laid back, really cool approach to it. So I'll leave the link to her channel in the description, along with Mel Marty Mac as well, and obviously these records. So I'll let you go and get back on with your whatever it is you're doing on the Saturday as I'm filming this. Hopefully we'll be back with something more violent and aggressive and very much not nice and probably sketchy and all the other words that are normally associated with my channel. Take care of one another. Make sure you look after one another as well, and your friends and your family and such like. It's been one of them weeks this week. And most importantly, as I always say, enjoy whatever music you're listening to, enjoy whatever genre of music you're listening to, and until next time, as always, cheers!